Hi, it's me, Sonia. Thank you for signing up for my newsletter. I started to write this article a while ago, and since then it kind of spiraled and it turned into something really long and involved, and maybe that's what you want, but I thought for those of you that are in a hurry or maybe don't want to read um, several pages about cold and flu prevention, maybe I could just sum it up in a short video. Well, hopefully short. Make it short as we can. But it seems even more important now because when I started writing this, it was just about preventing colds and flus, which they can be serious too. But now with this new coronavirus fear, which, I guess we'll wait and see what happens with everything there. But um, yeah, it's time to take it a little bit more seriously and kick our immunity and our prevention into high gear. So I'm going to try to help you out with some of that and give you some tips that have been working really well for me because my family, I'm happy to say, has not been sick since Christmas, which is a big deal in this house because usually kids get between 7 and 8 colds a year, which are mostly concentrated in the colder months. So the fact that we haven't really had much more than like a sniffle and maybe like a couple day cough is huge. So I think what I'm doing is working, and I hope it works for you. So basically, what's really been helping us is breaking the stages of prevention and treatment down into 4 stages. So the first one is passive prevention, which is kind of what you do all the time when you just assume that there's something going around, because something's always going around, especially when you have a kid. So that's stage 1. Stage 2 is active prevention, when you know that you're either burning the candle at both ends, or maybe you've had some visitors in town who might have brought their germs, which we just had my in-laws in town, which was wonderful. But, whenever you have out-of-town guests, they bring stuff with them. They can't help it. So that's active prevention, when maybe we kick things up a notch and start to take a little bit more of a proactive stance in how we fight these things, keep them from getting into us. So stage 3 is first intervention, which is what we do when the instant that we notice that we're getting a cold or a flu. So that very instant that you first notice that you're starting to feel not so good, because everybody knows what their body feels like when they start feeling sick, and you need to get on it right away. So do that. First intervention. And treatment, for when our first intervention either didn't work, or maybe we couldn't really take as good care of ourselves right away, so we noticed that we're starting to get actually sick. And there's a lot you can do at every stage. So like I said, it's more important than ever, and there's stuff that we can do. You don't have to fall victim to these awful things. So let's talk about it. So the passive protection phase, what we do all the time, we just clean with a vinegar. It's a homemade orange peel vinegar that we make, me and Hawthorne together in the house. And people have different opinions about how strong vinegar is and whether or not it's going to get your surfaces as clean as you want. And for me personally, I think the benefits outweigh any of the risks, because, you don't need to disinfect everything all the time. In fact, it's not going to stay perfectly clean for very long. So if you just are at sort of a normal phase and nothing really is going around in your house, then vinegar's fine, baking soda's fine. Natural is better, in my opinion. And sleep is huge. It's hard. I know it's like the one thing that I often sacrifice in order to do everything that I want. But sleep is key because it helps your body recover and it helps your immunity. So yes, try to get as much sleep as you can, but I know it's hard. And eating warm, nourishing food is huge for me, because I don't really believe in a one-size-fits-all diet. I don't believe in trend diets. I don't believe in diets, period. But I do think that eating cold, raw food in the winter can really take its toll on your body. It's kind of a Chinese medicine thing. Not everybody believes it, but we believe that all the energy in the body has to go, and essentially, in order to digest food, it has to turn into a 100-degree soup in your belly. So anytime your body has to expend energy to warm that food up and break it down, all your energy moves inward into your gut, and energy and blood can't circulate in the periphery anymore, which is where our immunity takes place in Chinese medicine theory. So just helping your body out by eating soup, drinking warm drinks, eating warm cooked vegetables, things that are easy to break down, it's just easier to keep your body healthy that way. And you'll notice that your digestion is better too. And as far as supplements go, Chinese medicine has always been about the gut. So supporting the gut all the time is important. But I don't take probiotics unless I'm fighting something off, or unless I have reason to believe that I should be expending some extra energy in fighting off illness, because probiotics are expensive. I don't really think I need them all the time with the diet that I have, but I do eat and drink a lot of fermented foods and beverages. So occasionally treating myself to kombucha, yogurt, different stuff. I do drink shrubs, which is like a drinking vinegar, and I mix it with bubbly water, and it's really tasty. So that's something that you can easily do and make. So moving on to and one more thing. I do take just a general adaptogenic herbal formula for those times when I'm healthy, but I want to stay healthy. And my big one is astragalus, which is called huangqi in Chinese medicine, and it's a really good just general tonic. If you have a regular body, I guess nobody has a regular body, but if you don't have to worry about any sort of autoimmune stuff, or if you're not in cancer treatment, generally it's a pretty safe herb. It won't hurt you. So it's a good one, just as a general tonic. So first intervention, let's say that you've been staying up too late, that you've had guests in town, that you've been traveling yourself. Now's the time that I'm skipping too far ahead. Active prevention. Let's talk about that. So guests in town, going out of town, all that stuff. So now you want to take a little bit more of an active stance and take good care of yourself and really be proactive. So this is when I do bust out the Clorox wipes and I disinfect a little bit, but I don't disinfect every surface, just things that get touched a lot, like light switches, door handles, the remote, my phone. Those are the things that I do disinfect. And I only do it maybe in the morning, maybe at night, mostly just one or the other. And then I use thieves oil, and I'm not a big essential oils person for a lot of reasons that we won't get into right now, but I do really like thieves oil because it kind of has an almost magical element to it. Anytime I smell that, I think, oh, there's something going on and I'm protected and I feel like my home is clean and safe. So I have a spray that I do after I do my general cleaning. And then I also have it in a roller bottle, which I do put under my nose if I feel like I'm starting to get a little stuffed up, or if I'm afraid that I'm exposing myself to a lot of junk. So that helps. And I love it. It smells good. And then I do introduce more supplements. So I will take extra vitamin C, and I will add a probiotic during that time. And for herbs, I like an herbal formula called Yuping Fangsan, which is called the Jade Screen Decoction. And it's like the classic formula for preventing illness and boosting immunity. And of course, you can refer to the longer article if you want to see that spelled out. It's just a wonderful, like, mild formula that's adaptogenic, and it covers all your bases. And for kids, I try to keep things really low key if I know that we are facing a time when things are going to be more disrupted, and there might be more illness. I try not to go out too much. I try not to be too busy. I try to just really turn inward and take good care of my family, and we just kind of go back to our core until everybody's well rested again. And that helps a lot, probably more than anything else, just resting. Okay, so now we're ready for first intervention. Somebody in the house is sniffling, probably me. Getting that little bit of a cold, that first feeling for me, it's feeling achy, feeling tired, just wanting to lay down, that hit by a truck feeling. So the first thing first of all, let's just say this. If you're going to take a sick day, take it now, the instant you feel sick. Don't wait until you're just laid out and you absolutely can't get out of bed, because by then it's already too late. You really need to just take care of yourself right away, because you could take a half day and then go back to work the next day after you've had time to rest, rather than taking 7 days later when you're knocked out with the flu. And I know that's really hard to do, because as a society, we really try to push through and we try to man up and just do whatever we can to keep working, keep being productive, but don't do that to yourself. First advice. So try to find a quiet place, lay down, limit distractions. I know it's hard, but you just need to lay down and rest. get warm. Definitely, the body needs to be warm because it's all about the big key shift is about working with the body's natural action. So the body wants to get warm, and that's why we get this fever and the febrile response, is because your brain is essentially telling the body that the temperature needs to go up. So it's raising the thermostat. And the way that we can help that reaction is by getting warm, getting as warm as possible, piling on blankets, getting a heating pad, just eating hot, spicy food, drinking hot drinks. Everything in the Chinese medicine catalog for that first line of defense when you start feeling sick is about getting the body warm, inducing a sweat. Because blood and energy goes inward to the body to raise the temperature, and it pulls it out of the periphery. So the skin gets really tight and the capillary beds get constricted, and that's why you get cold and shivery, because everything is moving inward. The temperature is getting raised up. So if you can, at that phase, theoretically stay warm, keep the pores open, get sweaty, sauna is perfect, a hot tub is even better. Wait, no, reverse that. I like saunas better than hot tubs. Or get into the bath. That would be good. And yeah, just keeping the body really warm. And so hot herbs, you got your cayenne pepper, you got your ginger, you got your cinnamon. Elderflower is sort of the classic herbal herb that people take in Western medicine when they start getting cold. So making elderflower tea is really good, and it's not spicy, so it's better for children. And the idea of feed a cold and starve a fever, it's kind of an outdated expression, but it's true. Because you want to keep your energy circulating and keep all of the focus of your body basically on fighting the infection rather than having to digest this heavy meal. So in this phase, I maybe will have some bone broth or like a little bit of a light soup, but I'm not going to be like pounding chicken wings or like having a big heavy baguette. So yeah, just trying to keep it light and keep the food all about fighting the infection rather than, just gorging yourself on a big heavy meal. Yeah, fire cider is a really good thing. That's like a apple cider vinegar infused with spicy herbs. Getting that and just sipping it a little bit and keeping that spice in your mouth until you get warm and sweaty, and it's a good one. And some people really hate spicy food, so for those people, like a chai tea is really good, like ginger, cinnamon, those types of herbs that maybe are not quite so, hot. And emergency is good. I've heard really good things about grapefruit seed extract, which I personally haven't tried, but next time I'm definitely going to. Elderberries are really good. I like to mix a little elderberry syrup in with some water or juice for my daughter when she gets sick, because it's got some really great natural antioxidants. And other supplements rich in vitamin C and antioxidants are good. But at this phase, I don't really go for those like herbal antibiotics. I mostly try to keep my focus on just supporting my body's natural immunity. And go to bed, because that's the most important thing. Just get rest and drink fluids. That's what the doctors say. That's what I say. So moving on, like let's say now you've either tried this and things are progressing and you're feeling worse, or maybe you weren't able to go get the rest that you wanted because of life. So now you're sick and your fever's going up and you're really to the point where you're starting to feel sick. So whatever you do, as long as you have a basically normal, healthy body, don't reach for Tylenol. Don't try to reduce this fever. Just try to play it out and treat the symptoms as best you can, because this fever exists for a reason. And nobody really quite knows exactly what the reason is, but there's studies that have shown that there's a better outcome for people if they just let the fever run its course. Because we believe that the body has a vital intelligence, and it's up to us to support that intelligence, not suppress it, so we can just continue to work and go through our day. And as much as we want to feel better, and as much as we hate seeing our children feel bad, and we want to give them that Tylenol so that they can go and continue to play and look healthy, what you're really doing is suppressing your immune system every time you do that, because we need that febrile response to increase the temperature, because some people, well, it's believed that those pathogens don't thrive once the temperature is higher. They tend to thrive in the 98.6, like normal healthy body environment. So as soon as that temperature goes up, they get boiled out and they die, and they can't reproduce. So if we are constantly suppressing that immune response, that natural febrile response, then basically we are allowing those pathogens to just proliferate because we're not letting our body just do its thing. And they also think that blood and lymph and like all of the stuff that, there's a word for it that I can't think of, but immunological factors, like all of the factors that give you the natural immunity, they circulate better when your temperature is a little bit higher. So we want to let that happen unless there's some reason to believe that your body isn't healthy enough, which in that case you should be talking to a doctor anyway. Fever can get really high before any actual damage occurs. It can get, I've read, as high as 106 before you really have to worry about brain damage. And I mean, that's your big thing. It's like brain cells start to get damaged when the fever gets really, really high. But the main reason that we are concerned by a fever, especially if it's over 103, or if it's in a child, is that it could be a symptom of something serious that we need to treat and address. But for the most part, a fever is normal. It's not pleasant. It makes you feel bad and you want to lay down, but that's something that your body's just telling you. It's another natural sign that your body's saying, hey, don't keep moving. Don't keep being active. Lay down. Let me do my thing. So yeah, even if you're feeling crappy, you just need to lay down and treat the symptoms. And if you do have really bad body aches, which I tend to get when I have a fever, bone set is a really good herb for that. It's a specific for aches and pains. That's why it's called bone set, because it's for those aches and pains during fever that can feel so bad it feels like your bones are breaking. And I don't know if I've ever been there, but bone set is a good herb for that. And you can find it at a lot of different herbal like providers, different stores, because it's a safe herb to take. And it's best if you take it as a tea, but you can definitely take it as a tincture, add it to a little warm water and drink it. Baths with magnesium salts are good, and the hypnotic herbs are really good for just kind of helping knock you out and sort of take you to another place while you heal, while you watch TV and just rest. Like valerian, hops, catnip, those types of herbs are really good for just helping your body relax and do what it needs to do. And yes, TV. TV is wonderful. I really think it has like a natural anodyne effect, which is why you find them in hospitals, because they help you just sort of tune out, rest your mind, and recover. And yeah, again, take a fever or take Tylenol if your fever gets really high. But if your fever is getting really high, you need to be going to the doctor anyway. You don't need to be reaching for Tylenol if you just have a lower fever, as much as you might feel like you want to. And keep hydrated, because fevers can make you sweat and they can disrupt your digestion. Of course, you can get vomiting, diarrhea, the whole thing. So you definitely want to stay hydrated and help your body cool. And you can take a natural herbal antibiotic. There's not really like a perfect analog herb for a real antibiotic, but echinacea is a great one. Echinacea, I think people overuse it because they think that it's an immune tonic, but it's not. It's meant to be taken when you are sick to help your body fight off an illness the way that you would an antibiotic. Like, that's how I treat it. I never take it unless I'm actually sick. And you want to take it fairly large doses. Just keep your body loaded all the time. So that means like maybe 2 droppers full every hour, every 2 hours, as long as it's not causing you any sort of nausea or any sort of weird tummy stuff. You can just take it. Basically, is just keep sipping it all day. And there's a really good Chinese formula called Yin Chao San that you can find in a tincture formula. And I like tinctures just because they're easier to take and they're easier on your stomach. And I think taking dried pill form herbs, it's not the way they're meant to be taken generally. So tincture is good. I mean, if you want to go all out and make yourself a real decoction, go for it. But I mean, when you're sick, you're probably not going to be doing that. I mean, I don't even do it when I'm not sick, so I wouldn't expect it of you. And save your medications for bedtime. I am a proponent of taking whatever you need to take at bedtime to sleep. You know, NyQuil, Tylenol, whatever you got to do just to feel better, because sleep is so important. And yeah, so go to bed early, take those medicines then, and let your body rest and feel better. Yeah, so I mean, the big thing is keeping an eye out for those symptoms that are troubling, like if you have ear pain, if you have a sore throat that lasts for several days, of course, if you have a stiff neck and a headache, any of those things that we've learned to look out for, along with fever, you know, be mindful of that. But if your fever is just, if you have reason to believe that it's just a cold and or a flu and you're just feverish and feeling yucky, then you really don't need to treat it. You just need to get through it, support the body, and let it run its course, and you'll come out feeling stronger and better on the other side of it, rather than having one of these colds that lasts for weeks and weeks and weeks, or you have a cough that lingers. Because the more that we don't let our body just do its thing in the beginning, the more we drive the pathogens deeper into the body. At least that's the Chinese medicine idea, and I tend to believe that. I mean, in the past, I didn't really follow these instructions very well. I took the classes and I got it in theory, but I thought, well, you know, we have such great medications for dealing with colds and flus. Like, why wouldn't you want to take NyQuil and feel better? Why wouldn't you want to take DayQuil during the day and feel better? But I would get these colds that would go on and on and on forever, and like just have all these symptoms that would just get worse and worse and worse, you know, even after the cold is technically gone. So I really, switching this up, I found has helped me a lot. And just keeping in mind all the time that I need to be preventing, I need to be supporting my body at all phases. And it's really made a difference for me and my family. So I hope it does for you too. And good luck out there staying healthy. We're rounding the bend on springtime here in Minnesota. So hopefully that means that cold and flu season will come to an end. And once again, we'll be able to go get fresh air and get outside away from the germs. So stay healthy.